FanDuel tight end analysis for week 9. I'm Jason Gobo, JGobo11, looking at cash and GPP tight ends. And I got a couple of options here, obviously, going through some of the value and top price guys. We have no Rob Gronkowski this week, no Jordan Reed, so obviously two prime guys are off the table. But for cash games, I'm looking at Greg Olsen, 7,500. As the pay up option if you're looking to go that route. Obviously the Rams, middle of the league in terms of Football Outsiders against tight ends this year. But Greg Olsen's a guy, in terms of consistency, out of the top options of guys like Travis Kelce, Delaney Walker, who are there this week, Olsen's by far the safest. His 2 down games came against Arizona and Minnesota this season, which kind of as expected, given those two are 1-2, against tight ends this season. So for me, it's Olsen. You're looking at a decent team total, sitting there right around 24 on the road against Los Angeles. You look at him, he leads the Carolina Panthers in snaps. He leads them in targets, has 10 red zone targets. Just kind of a safe bet for over 10 fantasy points. And also is a great GPP target because I'm not sure how many are going to be using him this week. So I like paying up here. I think this is an intriguing option this week. It's a help. You don't have to completely differ yourself from using other guys and using chalk around him. But I think with guys like Kendrick West, Devontae Booker, Stephon Diggs, those types of plays, that can open up a little bit more salary. You can use it and pay up for Greg Olsen if you need be. In terms of the value cash game, it's obviously Kyle Rudolph at 5K, 23.5 team total there. Home matchup against the Lions. Lions ranked 27th against tight ends per Football Outsiders. He sees 40% of the red zone targets. That's who he is down there for Bradford. And we're also looking at a lineup or a matchup here with the Lions, who, they've allowed 7 touchdowns to tight ends this season. They rank 4th in allowing the 4th most FanDuel points. So Kyle Rudolph in a solid spot at 5K. Cafe Value really loves him this week as expected. If you run our optimizer, you're going to see a ton of Kyle Rudolph in there. GPP tight ends, Delaney Walker, I'm looking at 6,400. This guy was Mr. Consistent last year. Now, not so much. So, I think things have changed a little bit with the better run game. Obviously, a couple receivers sprinkled in around him. Rashard Matthews, Tajay Sharp hasn't really been much of a factor, but DeMarco Murray out of the backfield has certainly gave a little bit of safety for Mariota. So those targets were going Walker's way last year. I still like Walker in GPPs though. I think you're going to get him at mediocre ownership. He's got 3 games over 15 FanDuel points this year, but also some duds mixed in. Titans are small underdogs. Obviously, on the road against San Diego. I think with the secondary still playing very well for, obviously Casey Hayward, Flowers have been very solid, kind of filling in for some of the injured guys there. I think this is going to focus a couple more targets and push him Delaney Walker's way because I don't see those guys relieving any threat or being able to kind of shake the secondary to kind of get away. And if DeMarco Murray's banged up and not really 100%, if we do get Derrick Henry in there, Henry's capable of catching some balls out of the backfield, but I do think this is a week where we could see Walker get, 7-8 targets and even maybe a couple more if game flow really helps out. Which will certainly push Walker into a higher upside. So I'm not buying him in cash just because of the floor in the price. I think that's a little too high for me. So Walker's just kind of sticking more GPP territory this week. Gary Barnidge, he's another one. I like 5,200, so a value GPP tight end option. Dallas ranks 31st against tight ends per Football Outsiders, 40.9% DVOA. Also, you expect them to be trailing most of this game. Team total there has crept up a little bit from the beginning of the week. Obviously, with Josh McCown being back, that helps out Barnidge quite a bit. We saw them connect a lot last year. Touchdown still hasn't come yet for Barnidge, but I don't think that's, there's going to be a week where he gets that touchdown. You do want to be a piece of it. Back-to-back weeks here with 7 targets is certainly a plus. We're looking at Dallas. They have allowed the 9th most FanDuel points per game to tight ends this year, sitting around 12. I think Barnes is a guy who can get you 12 to 15 points and is a swerve off of Rudolph. So obviously Rudolph has the glaring matchup to kind of target with Detroit, but Dallas is kind of a team that just gets overlooked against tight ends. You can use guys like Brown. You can use a guy like Barnidge against him. So I'm completely fine with using him GPPs. Interesting to see with Corey Coleman coming back. Obviously, that tosses another body into things. Coleman, Barnidge, and Terrell Pryor. I mean, they're all going to be fighting for targets, but I'm curious to see. I mean, that might even help out and kind of shift some focus away from Barnidge, who was the secondary option pretty much these last few weeks, with Terrell Pryor being the main guy. So keep an eye on him in GPPs. It's a pretty light week for tight ends. I'm not really looking at anyone else. I think you can play it safe with guys like Kyle Rudolph in cash games. You can pay up for Olsen if you want. And then Walker and Barnidge, kind of their respective swerves in those price tiers. So it's going to wrap things up with the FanDuel tight end analysis for week 9. Be sure to head on over to DaveFantasyCafe.com. Check out our great tools and content.